Dog Talk with Dr. Helene.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So with this video, you are in for a treat. I was recently invited to do a collab with these two wonderful and inspiring ladies, being Bernice and Black Girl White Coat. This event was hosted by Black Kids White Coat, and you should give all of them a follow. All of their information is in the description box below. It was a part of their match series that they've been hosting for the last few weeks. In particular, this series was about us being fourth-year med students and having YouTube channels which all showcase our medical journeys. So I really hope you like this video. Definitely give all these people a follow, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you enjoy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Black Kids White Coats video. This is a pretty special video for several reasons. It's the last installment in our match series, and last but not least, right, we're interviewing and we're speaking, interacting with fellow YouTubers, all who have happened to have matched already into amazing programs. Again, I'm Nelson. You guys know me by now, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Chi Chi to choose herself.
I'm Lillian. Thank you. Every
Y'all
time.
know who she is.
Hi guys, I'm Lillian. I am a rising fourth year, and I'm one of the co-hosts of the Black Kids White Coats YouTube channel.
Hi everyone, I'm Adama. I am a first year intern, finishing my first year of residency in Southern California.
Right. So let's have our esteemed guests go ahead and introduce themselves. Let's see. Let's go ahead by alphabetical order. So I think Bernice, you're up.
Yeah. Hi everyone. My name is Bernice. I think on the channel it says Being Bernice, which is the name of my YouTube channel. I am so honored to be here. Thank you for having us. I matched into emergency medicine. I'm going to the University of Chicago, and I went to Emory for medical school. And then also, very similar to Lillian, I also did a master's in the middle. So I did a master's in public policy at Harvard while I was doing medical school. So happy to talk about that.
Excellent.
Yes.
And I believe Helene is next.
Yes. So, hey guys, I'm Helene. I also matched into emergency medicine. I matched at Emory School of Medicine in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm super excited to be a part of this talk today. So thanks for having me. My YouTube channel is Hey Dr. Helene. And yeah, happy to be here.
All right. Last but not least.
Yes, last but not least. Hi, y'all. I'm Sandra. I run Black or White Coat on Instagram and YouTube and Twitter. I also matched into emergency medicine. I'll be going to University of Chicago with
Yeah.
my fellow co-intern. So super excited to make that move. Born and raised in Houston. And looking forward to that. So yeah, I'm here for questions, here for anything. So excited to be here.
Chicago's getting that melanin magic.
Right. Everybody's coming to
We
Chicago.
are. I said they. We are.
Atlanta too, though. Atlanta too.
Right.
Atlanta, and it's like the two most diverse
It's usually those
emergency
two.
medicine programs. No, like literally, we have 5 Black women in our class. 5.
5 Black
Yeah,
women.
we have
5
4.
out of 16.
That's
We're the
amazing.
biggest group.
That's actually amazing. We have 4 Black women and 2 Black males.
Which is
I was going to
Seriously?
ask about black males.
That's like the whole class then, right?
No, we have 20.
20?
Man.
Yeah. Emory's pretty large.
Yo, that's
Yo.
that's where the.
That is amazing. Wow.
Man.
So yeah, that's a great way to start off this video. Kind of, we're all about diversity, all about rising up and lifting ourselves up as a culture, as a people. So it's beautiful to hear that we all kind of have that going on in our respective hospitals. So one thing we like to start with is to ask you all your journeys, right? I'm sure you all have some amazing journeys, but let's go ahead, starting with Bernice again. Just tell us, and be as involved or as kind of brief as you want. Tell us your journey to medical school and what essentially brought you here.
Woo! That's a heavy question.
Let's start.
Just start with
y'all
the
don't
quick.
know.
No, I
Y'all
feel
don't
you.
know, but
No, very
I met
important.
Bernice. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. What were you saying?
I said Bernice and I met way back, like in 2010, back
It
at
was-
WashU's.
Yeah.
It was 09.
Or
It was
maybe
like 09,
2009.
It was
Yes.
WashU's like diversity weekend or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I still
But-
remember. I
Right.
love people so much. Yeah, no, I remember. Oh my God. Throwback. That's crazy.
Right.
Look how far we've come, Nelson. That's
Look
amazing.
at us. Crazy.
Oh,
Congrats to
so
you.
small. Thank you. Congrats to you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so how did I get here? You know, I think so. From a young age, I had liked the idea of health in general, but I hadn't thought of being a physician specifically. Partially, just like even little things like doing science fair, and just like realizing. I still remember whenever I first started realizing that health and social justice can intersect. It was like this science fair project where I looked at school lunches at different middle schools around my town and realized that the inner city schools had higher obesity rates than like the white suburban schools. And that was, I don't know, I was just like, that's crazy how that happens. But obviously back then you don't have the language of like systemic racism and like historical injustices and how all of those things kind of come together. But I was like, wow, this sounds really interesting. So I had always looked at kind of like, how can we, I felt like health was like a really tangible way of making a difference. But the idea of being a physician was just really scary to me. I thought it was very long, which is not wrong, and like, difficult and all of these things. But I kind of like had that mindset. So even like going into college, I was doing a lot of things with like HIV advocacy at the time. And then I had done the obesity work before. And then I started doing work with violence against women and those sorts of topics. But then I did a summer program in college. And that was the first time that I had met physicians who were also doing systemic social justice type work. And it seems very silly at the time, but before that, the only doctors I knew were like my family practitioner who saw patients every day, which I think is like a very noble and like very great way of practicing. For me, I had wanted to do kind of like the high level, like systemic policy type work. And I thought I had to choose. So once I did that summer program, that's when I was like, okay, maybe I should look into potentially being a physician and then seeing ways that I can incorporate like policy and that sort of thing into it, like doing the social justice, lifting up Black and brown and poor communities and that sort of thing into my practice. But I mean, you know, it's one thing to be like, oh, I can be a doctor and then like actually like try to do it. And that pre-med process was, that was crazy. That was a mess. That was like, yeah, those classes were really hard and I lost people to the struggle. I lost like a lot of friends who came into college like saying, I want to be a neonatal surgeon for females, like literally like super specific specialties. And they were like, never mind, I'm like going into banking. So I was losing people to the struggle left and right. And I was like, I get why people are dipping out. And then it just really came to a head after, in the year after I graduated, I finished the pre-med requirements by force and by fire, but like, it was like, some of it went well, some of it was not as like great as I would have loved for it to be. And I feel like that year was kind of when I hit kind of a roadblock. And actually, interestingly, so my most recent video is like a really deep story. So I won't go super, super deep here because it's like a long story. But basically, I had hit like severe burnout. It was like the only things I could hear were negative talks. People who were like, yeah, I mean, you were like, your resume is impressive, but like, you need to like change this, you need to like redo this. And like, if you do this, then maybe you have a chance here and this. And it just like, I feel like all I could hear were those voices. And I just like had taken on too much, moved to a new city. I was trying to work. I was trying to juggle all of these different things and then like retake the MCAT and do all of these things. And it was so hard. So I almost like just stopped. I like really was on the brink of withdrawing all of my medical school applications at that time and being like, you know what, like, why don't I try something else? Like, why don't I like, maybe I can do like an MBA and PH, or like, maybe I could like look into technology and like ways to do that. Like, I was like really trying to find other ways of doing this because I was like, this is too hard. This is so like demeaning. Like, this is like, why am I like feeling so bad about myself this whole time? And I was just like, I can't believe that this is it. But I had so many loved ones and so many people who believed in me during that process that really recentered me and reminded me of what my passions were and why I was doing all of this, and that I was in fact capable. And so luckily I got back on track, and was very fortunate that even though like there were definitely a lot of, because I turned in everything super late because I had gotten into this such a bad burnout episode during that year. But I was really fortunate. I think like somebody dropped some of their interview spots at the end by the time I got my things in, and I got in, and I was just like, I'm going to wow in this interview. Like, you will hear my passion. And it worked out for me. And I ended up at a school where I got to work at a hospital where I saw Black and brown patients, poor patients, and see the resilience of our communities, really be inspired by them, and fell in love with emergency medicine at that time. And now I'm going to Chicago, going to the South Side, which is another place that I feel really passionate about. It's back to my home state of Illinois, and I'm super excited about everything to come. So yeah.
Excellent. Helene?
Yeah, so for me, my journey to medicine actually started off with me wanting to go into speech pathology. My youngest nephew at the time, he's not my youngest nephew anymore, but at the time, he was diagnosed with autism. And so for me, I was like, oh, then I want to look into speech pathology and, do something kind of off of that realm. But once I started to explore that field and look into that, I felt too not broad enough. And I felt like I could do more. I felt like it wasn't necessarily for me. So then I just kind of branched out into, okay, like what can I do within healthcare? And, in that retrospect of helping people. And so when I got to undergrad, I basically just started to look into medicine. I heard pre-med. I was like, oh, that's how people become doctors. Okay, like, let me see what can happen. So I started to shadow some physicians, started to just volunteer in the hospital, do hospital experiences, work with at-risk youth, work in a nursing home for multiple years, and just see patients that way. So it was just a lot of exploration until what confirmed it for me was when I went on a mission trip to Ghana during my second year, I believe, in undergrad. And that basically confirmed, I want to become a physician. I want to care for underserved patients. I want to be that leader in charge of the patient team, helping patients that look like me. It really just kind of was a turning point in my life, because while I was on that mission trip, I met a patient there who ended up having a stroke. And because of the lack of technology and resources that they had in that area, that patient wasn't able to get the necessary help that he needed. And so he was kind of just in the hospital, just really not getting what he needed. It was just deteriorating day by day. And that really hit home for me, because before I went on that trip, my dad ended up experiencing the same thing. But luckily he was in Texas, and he was able to get an ambulance to the hospital, able to get the help that he needed. And now he is so much better, has worked through, that was a very tough time, but he was around the necessary resources to help him get better. And so to me, I was like, this is my calling. And that basically confirmed that I wanted to do medicine. And so in regards to emergency medicine, I worked as a scribe prior to med school in an emergency room in Houston, Texas. And that's where I got a lot of exposure to just the field itself, to the camaraderie that happens in the ED, to the high acuity of cases, the wide array of pathology that you see, everything I just loved. But when I went to med school, I actually wanted to keep an open mind. So I was like, oh, let me, look into OB, let me look at pediatrics. But, as time went on, I was like, yeah, this is not it. And when I started to go back to explore emergency medicine, I realized that this is exactly what I needed to be doing. This was my, the field that I should pursue. And so here we are, matched at Emory. So very happy.
Oh, excellent. All right, Sandra.
But your dad is okay.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Thank goodness.
Yeah. But he's great. He's, working full time at his job. He's, so much better.
So for me, I don't really remember a time where I didn't want to be a doctor. The only other thing I remember wanting to be when I was younger was an NBA player. And then I realized that to be in the NBA, you had to be a man. So that didn't work out very well. Wasn't a huge fan of the WNBA. So I was like, I guess we just go with this.
Word.
So if it wasn't the NBA, I was going to be a doctor. And for me, that interest really came about. Both of my parents are Nigerian, as I think everybody's here's parents are. No? Okay. So close.
Almost.
Close.
Where are you from?
Really close.
Parents are Cameroonian. So, my parents are Cameroonian.
Oh,
Okay, so West African.
West African. So I did first grade in Nigeria. We came back. My mom was newly a single mother. She had me and my brother, who is just a little bit older than me, and she began to work as a respiratory therapist here in Houston. She worked the night shift. She still works the night shift till today. I don't get it, but she's always worked the night shift, and she couldn't afford for us to have a nanny or a babysitter come over overnight. So we would have to go to the hospital with her, and we spent the nights, many nights, in the break room, her break room at the hospital. It wasn't actually a hospital. It was a long-term acute care facility. And I just remember that, and my mom will always tell me that my brother was always the one, like, he was sleeping, he brought his video games, so he would play video games and then go to sleep. I was always the one running around in the halls, playing with the nurses, talking to the patients. I had best friends in the long-term acute care facility, and I was just always intrigued by the setting. And I really want to say that that's where my interest began. That's where my interest in healthcare began. Later on, as Bernice was saying, I just found myself going through school and being interested in sciences, found myself excelling in like biology and like just the basic stuff. And it just more confirmation that this is what I wanted to do, that healthcare is the field that I want to be in. And my mom served as a great example for that as well. And so I went to Baylor University for undergrad along with Helene. And I went there full intention. It's such a small world here. University of Chicago,
Right.
Baylor, Houston, all that. Okay.
Right.
So I went to Baylor intentionally pre-med, majored in psychology, and again, it was just more confirmation that I'm gonna be a doctor. Like there was just really just nothing else that I could see myself doing. And I know that's like a kind of weird to think about, kind of hard to like really imagine. Like there's just so many opportunities, so many like possibilities, so many career choices. But my whole academic career, I wanted to be a doctor. And I basically Googled my way through school. I Googled my way through how to do this, how to go to a medical school, how to be a pre-med, what do you have to do here, what do you have to do here, just because I never had mentorship. I never had somebody that looked like me to guide me along the way. I never really had anybody to point me in the direction. My mom could cheer me on. My parents were great cheerleaders, but they had no idea what it took. Like, you know, going to Unilag you can't compare that to going to Baylor University. So I just Googled my way through school, and once I graduated, I actually graduated from Baylor in 3 years, and then I had this unintentional gap year. I was a perfectionist. That unintentional gap year, as sweet as that sounds to other people, that was painful for me. I was like, this isn't part of my plan. Like, this is not what I wrote down on my schedule, because I'm a scheduler. And I was like, this is just not what I was supposed to be doing. But anyways, during that time, I found that the best way to make use of that would be to work in Houston at an emergency room as an emergency medicine scribe, same as Helene. And so that's what I did for that time. And then that's what put me onto emergency medicine as a specialty. It was also during that time that, of course, I gained admission to medical school, but then that was when the idea of Black Girl, White Coat was birthed. And that really just came because, like I said, I felt like I didn't have a solid mentor throughout the whole journey. I didn't have an advisor who 100% knew what they were talking about at any time either. I didn't have anybody that could relate to me, you know, or relate to my journey, or could like affirm for me that what I wanted to do, the dreams that I had, that I've been having since childhood, were possible for me. I didn't have anybody in my corner. It was really just me and Google, just trying to make it out here. And somehow I made it. So I was like, this is my opportunity to give back. This is my opportunity to stand in the gap and to be exactly what I needed when I was trying to get through high school and trying to do AP classes and trying to do dual credit classes. And when I was trying to go to Baylor University, a very white school and trying to navigate, you know, the space and trying to navigate and find my way to medical school, when I was trying to navigate what to do during a gap year, like this is my opportunity to use what I've had, the little success that I've had, and give back to the next generation of healthcare professionals. And so that's what started Black Girl White Coat. Started med school here in Houston at University of Texas at Houston, also known as McGovern. And of course, like Helene, I had the whole scribe experience in like my background. I was like, I already know what that is. It's amazing. I loved it. But I'm going to keep an open mind. Let's see. Maybe I do like surgery. Lie. It was a lie. Oh, it was a lie. I played myself. I do not like surgery. I was like, no, I'm not about to be in the OR. Okay, cool. That's fine. What if I like family medicine? What if I like pediatrics? What if I like, you know, this and that? And very slowly, I began to cross things just off the list, one by one. And I would always spend extra time in the emergency room because at my school, it's not a mandatory course that we have to take. So I would have to spend my vacation time or my weekend time going to the ED to shadow as a medical student. And I did it with joy. Like I was happy to spend my time, my free time in the ED. I was happy to spend, you know, extra time shadowing these people and learning from emergency medicine physicians. So that was confirmation for me, further confirmation that this is a specialty that I'm supposed to be going into. And then that leads me here, matched to University of Chicago, where we will be beginning in a couple months.
Excellent, excellent. So that was a great transition. All you guys had amazing stories, and Sandra transitioned beautifully to our next. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Emma.
I have a quick question for Helene. Totally unrelated. Ghanaian or Nigerian jollof?
Nigerian.
Okay, thank you.
Like, okay, I went on the.
She's Nigerian.
But I mean,
I went on the mission trip to Ghana because it was an opportunity presented by an organization called Baylor Missions, and it. Like I read about it, I learned about it, I talked to people that went on it before, and I was just like, I want to go on this trip. And the way that you could go on that trip was apply for it and then get accepted. And so that's, you know, I didn't necessarily choose it. It was just an opportunity that was there, and then I went. But I will say I did enjoy the food the whole time I was there. I like food in general. Okay.
I heard they put ketchup in their jollof.
Yes, I thought you were about to say part of the application process, you have to survive a whole bowl of Ghana jollof.
To get admission, you have to eat a whole bowl of jollof rice.
And keep it down.
We love Ghana, y'all. We love Ghana. No disrespect.
Yeah, we love it. I actually have had Ghanaian jollof, and it's good. So
I mean, it's not Nigerian, but
you know,
if you're hungry, it'll fill you up.
It's all good fun. So
okay, sorry. Next question.
I feel like Bernice. Did you have something to say, Bernice?
Yeah,
I just think y'all's fight is always very funny. I think
she's like, leave us out of it.
Wait, do y'all have jollof in Cameroon?
Of course they do.
Definitely
yeah, they
has
do.
jollof. I love Cameroon jollof, but I actually feel like Senegalese jollof is the best.
Oh,
I've actually had it as well. I don't. Okay, no. I'm not gonna say that. No. I'm not gonna say that it was the best.
Choose your words wisely.
It was really good. I was.
Don't they add like vegetables and stuff in there?
And mine.
That's where jollof originated, because their language is Wolof.
I heard they add all those vegetables. You wouldn't need to add all those vegetables if it was good, but that's none of my business.
I can't deal.
We all got to get together and do a potluck and decide once and for all.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. No disrespect.
Focus. Okay.
Oh man, but yeah. So, what's up, Sandra?
The people that are watching, they're confused. They're like, what are they talking
about? Right.
I know. Sorry, guys.
But so Sandra did lead us beautifully into the next topic, which is, like how did you all start your channels? What motivated you? What have been some highs and lows of your channels? How has it enriched your life and all that jazz? So just talk to us about your channels in general. So go ahead, Bernice. So I guess Sandra. Okay, go ahead. Continue.
I already talked about why I started it, to fill a gap and to address a need, and just to be, that quote says, be who you needed when you were younger. That's exactly why I started it, like point blank. Highs and lows. I think one thing that people starting YouTube channels or any kind of social media platform, one thing that they'll think about or they'll ask me about is, you know, what happens if nobody watches? Or what happens if I don't get the likes? Or what happens if we don't get the support? What happens if nobody wants to watch, nobody wants to tune in, nobody wants to do that? And for me, to be honest, it crossed my mind, but it can't be it can't be what stops you, right? So you have to know your why. So you have to know like exactly what I said I started my channel. I had it written down. I had written down several places. I posted it on Facebook. I told my friends. My brother is a YouTube person as well. And so I told him my plans. Like I vocalized it. I wrote it down. And from there, I was like, I'm not going to stop until like I'm getting resources. I'm getting these things out to people. It doesn't matter who tunes in. It doesn't matter who watches. And I always say on my channel, if this helps at least one person, job done. Like that's it. If it can help one person that was like me, like one student that is just in a sea of people who do not look like them and they're like, what do I do now? If it helps that person and that's it, like that's okay. So I feel like that's definitely a hurdle to overcome for everybody who's starting their own channel or starting their own social media platform campaign or whatever it may be. As far as highs would go, I would definitely say I feel like I've gained a second like family. It's like I have like my immediate family and then like in the bigger circle around it is like my Black Girl White Coat family. And it's people in like the Caribbean, it's people in Australia, South Africa, like Canada. And it's wild that something that started in my apartment living room has reached people all over the world. And we all have something in common, and that's trying to be, you know, the best version of ourselves that we could be and contribute to the greater field of healthcare, especially for underrepresented minorities. So it's crazy that grew out of something so small, just a little dream, a little passion project on the side. So that's the beautiful side of social media and all this YouTube stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice. Anybody go ahead.
I definitely agree with, I second hand everything Sandra just said. And I'll also add that so I consider myself a very regular student, a regular person. I never see myself as the smartest person in the class or anything like that. But when I was applying for med school and then interviewing for med school and got accepted to med school, I just noticed that people around me would ask me questions about oh, what'd you do to study for this? Or, how'd you interview at this place? And, how has your experience at Morehouse been? And just what'd you put on your application? What things helped you stand out? Just all these kind of questions that I originally was why are people asking me this? I don't feel like I'm the crystal ball that has all the answers or anything. But it just kind of happened. It started to happen more and more. And so I always got back to the people that asked me questions, whether they asked me email or on social media. I always will just answer them. But then I started to realize, why don't I just make a platform where I can answer multiple questions and guide people instead of doing it individually? I can just kind of put it out there for people who didn't have the correct guidance for med school. People will ask me questions that at my school, because Baylor was a very pre-med heavy school, and they kind of really laid it out for you on how to get to med school for the most part. Yeah, I did my own research, but we had a pre-health committee, and a lot of schools don't have that. And so even though my kind of journey to understanding how to get into med school wasn't completely blind, it may be that way for other people. And so I originally had the idea of starting a YouTube channel while I was an undergrad, but I just did not actually do it for those same reasons that Sandra was saying. Oh, what if no one watches it? What if, all these what ifs. But finally, when I got to med school, I was why am I still thinking of this what if? just do it. If this is something that I'm passionate about and something that I think will help a lot of people, and again, even if it just touches one person, then I'm all for it. And then also I just felt at least when I started my channel, there were other YouTubers who also had their channels about med school and stuff, but I felt they only showed the highs of med school and just all the happy times and all the great things that happened. But I was okay, I also want to show like the not so good parts, the times where I am upset, the times where I don't feel motivated, the times where I'm crying. Like, let me actually show the whole 360 of what this journey to medicine is. And so kind of a combination of all those things is why I started my YouTube channel. And so like some of the highs is just that like people trust me and like want to reveal their, because you know, people in medicine, it's like, you know, you don't want to share your scores and you don't want to share your GPA, you don't want to share your stats and all this stuff. But people will literally send me emails of paragraphs. They're like, okay, here's my CV. Like, this is my personal statement. My GPA was a 3.2, like this, and that. I got a 500 flat on the MCAT. Like, these are my extracurriculars. You know, what do you think? Like, can we talk about it and stuff? And I will literally go and look at every single part of their emails and talk with them on the phone if I need to, or type out the entire explanation for them and give them my opinions. And the thing is, if I don't have all the answers, I will go find someone that does. Many people, knowing that I go to Morehouse, because I have shared that on my channel that I attend Morehouse, they'll ask about the master's program. And so I didn't do the master's at Morehouse, so I can lead you to someone and give you the contact information for someone that did do that program. So I just feel like it's just a great avenue to really just give the help to people that are asking for it. And I feel really privileged to be in this position because, you know, I feel like people kind of feel like I'm a very genuine person and they can share those like intimate kind of things about themselves with me and know that I won't use that against them or like use that in a bad way. So it's been really awesome in that sense. And just like being honest about my journey, truly. Like I've shared my step score on, you know, just all that kind of stuff. And then the lows about it, the only lows I would say is just like for a few months, I like didn't upload really because like my computer broke and then and like I couldn't even like edit. I tried to like learn other software. It just wasn't really working. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm kind of out of the game for a while. And so it just kind of, to me, it seemed like the people that trusted in me, like I kind of just disappeared on them. And like, I just felt like that was, it looked really bad. And I felt bad for like not kind of being there. But once I got my computer situation back, we've been back here putting more videos out, you know, being able to answer people's questions and all that stuff. So I feel like that was kind of the only low because people were like, where are you? But yeah, it's been overwhelmingly great.
Good, good. Shout out to your inbox. It's about to be full after this. You're about to get a lot of people calling you about their scores.
Yeah, I have a personal statement sitting in my email that I need to go over today.
You're a real one. You're a real one.
Right. Nice. Okay, Bernice.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think a lot was already said. So I definitely echo a lot of what has already been said. I feel like, first of all, I think, you know, Sandra and Helene have been in the game longer than me. So like, even just like, thank you for starting that path. I just started my YouTube channel. It's like towards the end of last year. So it's kind of like a new thing for me, but I think, so there was a few things I had, similar to Helene actually, I'd had the idea to do something like a YouTube channel or maybe a blog or something, just because I too also feel like there is a dearth of mentorship and guidance for a lot of people. When I got to med school, I was personally really shocked. This is not to knock people, but I was just really shocked that it seemed like almost everybody I was meeting had like either doctors as parents or like siblings or whatever, which is like, I mean, I think it's fine because obviously like, you know, you're going to gravitate towards what people in your family are already doing. But I was just like, it seems like this is kind of like a club that's really hard to break into. And then like even worse, whenever you look then in like Black communities, Hispanic communities, Native American, all of those, like there was just like obviously already not enough representation of those groups, but then like even within those groups, most people had an in somehow. So I was like, it's very clear that this is like you need like some sort of insider info to get in. And there's a lot of things that I realized even in my own journey, like what I was mentioning with that year, like you need to know things like when the application comes out, you need to already have pre-written your essays and flip those in. And that's like how people are getting interviews so quickly. The rolling interviews are happening this way. And like, you need to make sure you have this suit by this time. And you need to like know how to book your flight. Like there's just so many things that seem very small, but can make a huge impact on whether or not you get into the room. and we need so many more people in the room. So I was just like, why is it that it's so insider? So I was like, I want to build a platform where I make some of this insider information that I've like learned public for people, particularly for people who don't know doctors personally or don't have them in their family or whatever the case is. And then, so even though I had this idea, I was so scared to move forward with it. Very unfortunately, at around like middle of last year, I had basically this very traumatic loss that happened in my family. And I think there's a lot that happens with grief, and there's a lot that happens with healing. And one of the things was that I like lived with my sister actually in Chicago that summer, and we were doing a lot of healing together. And I just kept mentioning some of the ideas I had. And I think like whenever you have loss, you're like, well, you know, life is very fragile. Life is very short. And I realized that I'd had a lot of fear around creating that platform and putting myself out there, because I think, you know, you open yourself up for a lot of judgment, and people might not understand your intentions, or they may receive it in certain ways. And so I was really scared too. I was just so scared. I think I'm still a little bit too shackled by like thinking too much about how people are thinking or perceiving me or whatever. But I think in that healing process, my sister was like, Bernice, I don't want to hear you talk about this anymore until you've put it out. Like, she was just like, period. And that's like how my baby sister is. I love her so much. She was like, just don't talk about it again until it's out. So I was like, okay, let me just start it today. So it was like one of these things where I was on my away rotation in Chicago, and I just started filming. I pulled out my camera and I was like, this is how I got my away rotation. This is what I did to get to this point. Like, this is what I do on a day-to-day basis. And I just started creating, and it was a really liberating process to just realize, like, kind of like what Sandra was saying. Like, I was just like in the room where I was staying and just talking to the camera, and it was really awkward at first, but I was like, okay, I think I'm creating something here that could help maybe some people. And so that's kind of where it started. And I had the first tenet being that I wanted to get insider information to people who don't have access to it otherwise. And then the second tenet I wanted was representation. I know that there are a lot of people who don't think that they've never met a Black female physician or a Black male physician or anybody that looks like them. And so I really wanted the second tenet of my channel to just be like, look, I'm here existing. I have natural hair, and this is how I like do my hair to like exist in the clinic. Like, you know what I mean? Like things like that, and just be like, we exist, we are here, and this is how I'm navigating the space. So with those two tenets, that's kind of how I've been doing my channel. And it's been a really fun avenue. I think the highs are, I've been very surprised to get messages from people just thanking me or being like, you know, you've really inspired me to believe that, you know, I shouldn't give up because of this, or like, oh, I didn't even know about this thing. Like, thanks for that help. And just knowing that even these little things that seem perhaps inconsequential are making a really big difference in people's lives, I think is such a blessing. I think the challenges are, like I said, it is really hard to be vulnerable. It is really hard to relive some of the really toughest times of this process and be honest about those with people. But I've been really pushing myself to say, like, yes, it isn't all roses, and I want to act like I'm like all together and like really killing the game all the time, but like that's not the case. And I've had to go through a lot of hard knocks, but realizing that it's for the purpose of helping people, I think, you know, from the vulnerability piece. And then the other hard thing is, I think, you know, it's you also not getting super caught up in the numbers and like, is this going anywhere? Is this doing anything? I've just been like really careful, and I see a therapist, and my therapist was so great. She said this really amazing thing to me. She was like, Bernice, just serve the platform that you have. Like, at any point in time, serve the platform that you have, whatever that platform looks like. And so that's what I've really been centering as I move forward. So it's been really a blessing.
Awesome. Adama, go ahead. You're muted, by the way.
I know. I just wanted to touch on what these lovely ladies have said. It's okay not to know something. It's okay to, you know, I know we live in a world, especially in college, where it seems like the gunners are like the people that know everything. They're like, oh, I got like a 529 or a 530 on my MCAT, and I have like 4 letters of recommendation, and my application's already sent. Like, it's okay to not know things, but it's really important that we have people here that create videos to help you access that information. So be proactive and get the information that you need to get to where you want to go. We're all like regular, well, we're more than regular, but we're all like people that are literally just living our everyday lives, and we've shown that even though we may not know something, we're proactive, and we've all made it and been successful, and you can too.
Yes.
But all right, so we all know, med school is not easy, right? Almost all of us have made it through. Shout out Chi Chi next year. So, going through the process and doing extracurriculars, that's YouTube, it makes it harder. So overall, would you guys say that your YouTube channels have enriched your lives? And what do you say to those who ask you, how do you get it done with the schedule of medical school? Anybody could start.
So I guess okay. So I don't know if people know this just in general, but YouTube, you're able to, so you don't have to necessarily make a video every week. On YouTube, you can make like 5 videos and then set them to upload at different times on YouTube. So it's as if like you're putting out content consistently, but you're not necessarily doing it every single week. So I think just being able to, especially during this quarantine time, like being able to just make a bunch of videos and have them edited, uploaded at different points in time. Like even now I have some videos set to upload in the end of May, is really helpful. And also, with residency starting, I also had those thoughts like, okay, how am I going to be able to stay consistent during residency? But I think just, first of all, like already having a plan for how you're going to edit your videos. So you're not just kind of like having a bunch of footage and then kind of sitting at your computer for hours like, oh, how am I going to put this together? And then also just kind of setting out a limited amount of time. Because for me, I can like edit a video for like 5 hours on a day where like I have nothing else to do, but that's not realistic for, post quarantine when I actually start working. So just setting out a limited time where I'm like, I have to get this video edited and done and uploaded, so I can go study or go to work or, do other things that I need to do in my life. But, it's possible if you know what your mission is of your channel and you know why you started it in the first place, and you remind yourself, like, if I don't put certain content out, then that's people that aren't going to be able to get the information that they have been looking at you to get. Or, when they send you emails, asking to look over their application, knowing that this is helping someone and they're seeking your guidance and your advice for a reason. So, still just having that servant heart and knowing why you're doing this in the first place. So in the same sense of like, why did we all decide to become a doctor, and kind of keeping that reason in the front of our brain, so that when times get hard, we can depend on that, is the same way that I would apply that logic to YouTube. So that's kind of how I would describe like being able to, do it while balancing, being a doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you can go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, definitely going off of what Helene said, I think the key is absolutely planning, and just like having ideas on deck. So I have like a whole document where I'm like, anytime something comes to my mind of like, oh my God, that is something that could help someone, like, let me just like elaborate on that. I'll just write it down and I have a place. And then I have these days, I mean, right now in quarantine, it's obviously a lot easier, but then I'll just have these days where I'm like, oh, I see I have like a lot of free time, and I'll just like sit down and film a bunch of things. So sometimes I'll film a lot of videos in succession, like even on one day. Maybe I'll like change my outfit or something, but like I'll just like film a bunch of videos, and then just have them to edit when I have free time, and then try to upload consistently. I will say during interview season, I think I uploaded like, I very infrequently uploaded during interview season because that was impossible. I was like doing that, and I was also still full-time in my master's program at that time. So it was like that was very, very challenging. But I think that was like a lesson where it was like, okay, I could have planned a little bit better before that, but like doing the applications for residency and doing all of that, I think was really challenging for me. So there are definitely times that it stuff can kind of like, get mixed up. But I think after that, then if you just like have a plan, film things, plan them in advance, and then just like set out times, just like dedicated times to it, was the biggest thing for me. Plus it's fun. It was like, for me, it's like a way to use a different part of my brain that's like not always like on whenever I'm like doing like doctor things or my master's things or whatever. So.
And also you just made me think of something. So yeah, like when, you know, let's say like step 3 is coming and we're studying for step 3, I'm not gonna like obligate myself to make sure that I have a video every single week during that time, because I'm like, okay, step 3, this exam is expensive. I need to take it once and be done with it. So also just like updating, like having the responsibility of updating your subscribers, like, hey, I'm studying for step 3. You know, I'm not gonna have a video out this month, but I'll be back next month. So even just keeping them in the loop also helps too, so that they know that you didn't just disappear.
Yeah. So I would say definitely, I like what Helene said about remembering why you started a YouTube channel in the first place. That, just like the reason why you're a doctor or why you want to be a doctor, is really the baseline of your motivation, because med school gets tough. If you don't know why you are doing it in the first place, I don't see how people make it all the way through. So it's the same thing with the YouTube channel. Although it is very fun, like I don't find it to be work. And I actually do, I've been getting that question a lot. How did I balance it with medical school, and how do I plan on balancing it with residency? I think something that's different with the way I run my channel than Bernice and Helene is I don't film in advance. Just because I would say that my Black Girl White Coat, I promised from the very beginning to be very transparent, not only about the med school journey and my med school journey and how to get there. How did I get through undergrad? How did I get through my gap year? How did I get through medical school? And now it's going to be, how am I getting through residency and moving to another state? But I also promised to be transparent about like life outside of medical school, because I always say what makes med school hard is not med school itself, like 100%. It's the fact that life happens while med school is also happening too. Like life doesn't take, you know, a break while you're in medical school, which it would be nice if life, you know, could respect, if my family could respect, if my love life could respect the fact that I'm trying to be a doctor right now and save lives. But it doesn't. Like my love life does not respect anything. It doesn't even respect me. You know, my relationship with God is, you know, here and there, and my relationship with my family is, you know, there sometimes a blessing, sometimes it's a curse. So one thing that I like promised from the beginning, I'm going to be transparent with all of it. So maybe a little bit different is that mine is also not only medical school and residency and pre-med and all that stuff, but also lifestyle. And how is life, and how do I handle life, and this balance that we're all supposed to have, you know, this work-life balance that is like the most false little statement that we have. We just, you know, blanket it everywhere. But actually, how do we live it? Like, how are we living it? So that's what I offer my viewers. I offer them a insight into that. So I spend a lot of time talking about, you know, when my long-term relationship ended right in the middle of step 1. Talked about that. You know,
You're a stallion, sis.
Girl.
You're a stallion, he's a pony.
Oh, for sure. Listen, you said talk to me yesterday, okay? I'm good.
They always try and come back.
Well, quarantine got him feeling some type of way. Yeah.
That quarantine needs to bye.
Listen. So I took my subscribers and my family. I call them my family. I took my family through all of that. Going through a breakup and trying to navigate being newly single, and then having to go to like the family medicine rotation right during that time, right after step 1. I got my step 1 score back and it was poor. I was dealing with a breakup. I was in family medicine and I hated it. So yeah, I don't pre-film because it just wouldn't work. The way I'm feeling one day is not going to be the same way I'm feeling, you know, in a month when this video is supposed to come out. So for the most part, I film the day that I say I'm going to film. I talk about exactly how I'm feeling at that moment, what's been going on in like the week, you know, the weeks leading up to that. And then I put that out. On the negative side of that, if you want to see it as a negative, it means that my videos aren't as scheduled or consistent. But some of my subscribers do have a problem with that. I, however, do not have a problem with that. It is what it is. And for me to continue to like put out for me to keep my channel authentic as how I want it to be authentic, and as transparent as I want it to be, it has to be, you know, with the ebb and flow of life. because if it's not, then you're going to lose an aspect of what makes Black Girl White Coat Black Girl White Coat. But yeah, going on and continuing this through residency, I plan on doing the same thing. I picked my apartment so that I have like a room in my apartment, whatever apartment I knew that I was going to sign on for. I would have to have a room where I could film my vlogs. That was like the most important thing. I have to have good natural light, and I have all of that. So I'm very excited to set up my little YouTube studio in my apartment. And yeah, videos will continue to come. I'll continue to be the same ratchet, transparent Houston, stallion that I am.
Savage.
And it's a good time for Houston.
Savage.
That remix that dropped
Ratchet, bougie,
that was amazing.
messy, moody, nasty.
Exactly.
The ex acting stupid. What's happening?
So all of that is going to be brought to Chicago, and I'm really excited to continue with my BGWC family.
Right, bring that weather too, please.
Please do, because I'm tired.
Listen.
Or you could come to California.
No.
Nah, that's cool. They ain't got
Oh,
no water
yeah.
there. And water. You don't want to die of thirst.
Oh my God.
Y'all are rude.
Look how small that bottle is.
That was about $20.
It's from the hospital.
Water expensive.
Better yet.
I'm working the
That
ED
little
right
bottle
now, and this is what they give us to drink in the ED.
Oh, they got
You
money.
die otherwise.
Okay. Easy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it takes a special person to be an emergency doc. Let me tell you, y'all have to be resilient. I mean, y'all are resilient, strong-minded individuals, and kudos.
Right. Right.
But yeah.
She.
Yeah, I was going to say, y'all, like, all of what you guys have said about starting the channel, I mean, Nelson and Adam, I don't know how you guys feel, but, like, I feel like I can so identify with everything, like, the representation piece. Like, my experience is, like, I kind of knew how, like, the pre-med route, but not really, kind of. You know what I mean? Like, one of those things where it's, like, I still need the guy. Yeah, like.
We all know, like, a little bit. Like, I heard that you have to take an MCAT. What's MCAT?
Yeah.
There's a dad? There's a PCAT? What's the MCAT?
Right.
What's the USMLA?
Is it USMLA or MBMA?
Right.
Oh,
But yeah, so I'm like super grateful to have this and like hear your stories about all this stuff. And I feel like there was a point in time I can like speak, I guess, more vulnerably or whatever the word is, where we weren't actually posting videos. And I feel like part of it for me was kind of like the imposter syndrome and like feeling like, who am I to put these videos up? Like, like feeling like crap and like, like, I don't know, just like a whole bunch of things. I don't know if you guys feel very similarly.
That's why you have to get on camera and cry. Because
No, for real.
Sometimes you got to.
I said this in my last, I don't know, maybe I said it at an interview, because I also put Black Girl White Coat all over my applications, all over my CV. I was
absolutely
Black Girl White Coat on every interview that I went on. It's something that I plan on continuing and I've talked to my PD about it, incorporating it into my program, So when I say like,
I like that a lot.
My subscribers and my family, my community knows everything. Like it's important for us to show people the highs and the lows, just like Helene was saying. So the times when you're going through something and you're like, dang, I don't feel like imposter syndrome. I don't feel like I'm like worthy enough to do this. Like, I don't think I have anything. Like, tell them that.
Let's talk about it.
Like, you're freeing somebody else. Your testimony frees other people. So the fact that you just put on the camera and start talking, and they're like, people will appreciate that. Like, people will gravitate towards you. They will trust you more. And when you are transparent with people, they feel comfortable and safe enough to be transparent back.
Yeah.
That's the climb this ladder that we all have to climb.
Yeah.
I think because I know I talked to Lillian and Nelson about this, so because I uploaded a video about how I didn't match.
I saw that video. It was amazing.
I appreciate it, and that was like a year in the making because I just never felt ready.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people in medicine is like type A personalities, or people that are just perfectionists. Like, I don't want to say failure, but what does a detour look like? Not everyone wants to admit to having the detour.
Yeah.
So, and I find that those videos tend to do a lot better because then people are like, okay, I mean, obviously I matched, like I'm finishing my intern year, so it worked out. But it shows that just because your journey may not be, you know, like Sandra said, you know, taking a gap year, even though she finished Baylor in 3 years, don't sleep on her. But yeah, just because your journey may not go at your schedule doesn't mean that you're any less successful. You don't have, like, you have any less potential. But I think one low point and high point is just being vulnerable, because that's really, really scary to do, especially when you don't know how people are going to react to it. And obviously you are going to get negative comments about people judging, but I do think, like everyone said, for the most part, people really do appreciate it, because they know, even if it doesn't happen to them, that if it does, that life moves on and you're okay. And you continue to make it, and you continue to find, if the first door doesn't open, you can find a window. Hopefully you could crawl through it, but you could find a window. But yeah, even though I didn't match into a program, no shade, that I wanted to match at, things worked out, and I love the program that I'm at, and I'm saving money too. So yeah, I think making a YouTube channel and us being so vulnerable is really a blessing, because some people are too shy, or don't know what to do, and so we give them like a face to, this is what happened, this is happening to you too, however I'm on the other side, so let me help you get there.
Right.
I agree. Have you guys heard of the concept of so Brene Brown? Have you guys seen like any of her like TED Talks and stuff? She has this framework called the vulnerability hangover that happens. And so after I had posted a really personal video about just like overcoming grief while being a healthcare provider, and how that like has built a lot of resilience and that sort of thing. And after I posted, I had like a vulnerability hangover, which is literally like after you share something like really personal, or like that actually like was like genuinely something that was hard for you. Sometimes you can feel like, did I overshare? Are people going to feel uncomfortable? Like, are people going to look at me differently now? Like, is anyone even going to respond or be helped by it? Like, you have all of these questions that happen and stuff. And I'm going to bring on my therapist because I love her. Oh my God. She's this like Black woman who just like is changing my life. But so I brought up having a vulnerability hangover with like all of the new sharing and stuff that I'm doing. And she was like, this is the thing. Like, at the end of the day, like some people may have been uncomfortable seeing that type of pain. Like that is like the reality of it. And some people may have thought it was oversharing or whatever, like that, like, but a lot of people are going to be helped by it. A lot of people are going to be moved, and it's going to change a lot of people's lives. And then also, it's not just because a few people might be uncomfortable by it, that says a lot more about them and what they're going through in their lives, and doesn't say anything about whether or not that was appropriate for you to share, because you had a purpose. All you can do is like move in your own purpose and why you're choosing to share it. You know that you had a purpose. You know that there's something greater that you're trying to accomplish by it. And so you have to move by that, and you can't be shifted by what other people might be going through and how they might perceive things in their lives, because you're not going to be able to accomplish what you're trying to strive for if that drives you, which I thought was really powerful.
Yeah, I think it's a form of healing too. When you share, you're letting it go, and it doesn't have power over you anymore.
Right.
So I think when you do get to that point where you do feel safe enough to share, especially on such a public space where literally, people from all over the world are watching, it's a very beautiful thing. It's almost like you're letting it go, and you can move on.
No, I completely agree. Like when I finally like mustered the courage to share my step one score, y'all, I can tell you that when I got my step one score, I was like depressed for a good like month and a half after I got my score. Like I sometimes would just sit on my couch and cry. Like I like a lot of my close friends, like they knew how depressed I was. And it's funny because when I matched at Emory, they were like, you remember how depressed you were after you got that step one score, and look at where you are now. And honestly, I just felt like when I just started to talk about it and actually truly release that just like stronghold, like it's crazy how much a 3-digit number can just like have some stronghold over you. But what's crazy, like I posted on social media. I mean, I've mentioned it in multiple videos, but I've also posted it on this post on social media, and literally like 3 people messaged me saying that they were interested in emergency medicine as well, and that they had a similar step 1 score, and they didn't know if it was possible that they could match into emergency medicine with the score that they had. And they were just like, they're so grateful that I shared that, because now they can see that if I boost other parts of my application, it's still possible. And so I really felt so like happy that I got that feedback from them, and I was able to share with them, you know, other things that I did to help improve my application. But yeah, I definitely agree with also making it very clear that this journey is not a straight line. I don't know how many times I've mentioned that in videos, but I try to make that very clear. Like, what you have written as your plan probably is not going to happen. But the thing is, it was meant to happen that way. And it is perfectly okay that it happened that way, because you probably learned so many lessons and so many things that are going to make you a better physician that you would not have gained otherwise. And so it's just, it truly is like that vulnerability, and being vulnerable in that way. It not only helps us, like you said, but also those who are watching. So completely agree. And that also motivated me to, I don't know. I know I asked Nelson, I think you sent me your testimonial video. Yes.
Sure did.
I had this, you know, like Bernice was saying, sometimes when you just have these ideas, you just write them down and you just start to gather things for a YouTube video. So like one of my upcoming ones is going to be a medicine testimonial. Oh, Sandra, you also sent a video in too. So I literally just got a bunch of med students. Because you said because you were a traditionalist. I asked you. I
sent you one. You said it was good.
Oh shoot! Yes, you did. I forgot. Okay. You see, I've gotten so many.
We good.
I've gotten so many that I forgot how many fantastic ones I've gotten. But the point is, I had this thought of like, wow, let me share testimonies in a YouTube video. And I basically asked med students, residents, and attending physicians. A lot of the attendings and residents, I just like reached out on Instagram, just from like people who, you know, have these like large followings on Instagram. Because I was like, if they can share their stories and like showcase that to the people that are watching, that'll be like a really big impact. And so I've basically just been gathering all these videos, and I cannot wait to release that. So honestly, I want to add you to it as well. Yes,
Yeah,
I do. After this video, I'm gonna reach out to you, so you can send me your clip too. But
my testimonial is that my wig fell off my first day of residency.
Oh my gosh, that was you?
That was me, girl.
You put that in my bag, didn't you?
I did, girl. I did.
I was cracking up.
It was. And I'm the only Black person in my whole program, girl.
That probably helps you, low key.
Sure.
Oh my goodness.
How wasn't your wig secure?
Sandra, why you asking all these questions, sis?
It was windy. It's California. It was real windy.
Oh my gosh,
it was in the conference room.
The hat has to be secure at all times.
Sis, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, secure the snapback, you know?
This is Gladys. I'm making another one with the elastic band this time. I thought it was tight enough.
Elastic band. Come on now.
That's my testimonial.
Flip your hair, girl. Yeah.
My wig fell off.
I'm secure.
But I have an elastic band now.
Nowhere. Okay.
Yeah, that was me.
Oh
yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah. Y'all know it's like.
That is so funny.
Yeah, and
but you love your program. Remember that.
Oh, go ahead.
I do, but at the same time, they were like, you know, and I have Meek Mill braids underneath. For those of you that don't know what Meek Mill braids are, they look kind of like this.
Transparency for real. I love it.
Transparency.
No secrets.
Mind you, I'm social quarantining, or else this hair will be laid. So do not come for me.
Late with a T, late.
Wait, Sandra, what'd you say?
She had the Bow Wow straight backs, the Romeo.
Straight backs. Meek Mill had it first, though.
Like Mike in the orphanage.
I'm not even like Mike, sis. I'm not like Mike. I'm not Trey Songz. Right now, I'm Meek Mill. But
Yeah,
as soon
the
as the
Kawhi
social
Leonards.
quarantine is over, me and Gladys. We out here.
Is it Gladys?
Yeah, that's my wig's name. Her name's Gladys.
I
Her name
support
I
it.
got you, girl.
I also have
I support
Beyonce,
it.
but she's coming in the mail. That's that residency paycheck. Anyway, sorry, y'all.
Hey, no problems. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I understand all too well. I can like totally co-sign on how all these struggles, when they occur, you feel like your world is ended. Like, I'm talking depressed. If it just the video that video 2 days ago.
You
What's
see
up?
this couch? This is where I was laying on this couch. When my step one score came in, when I broke up with my boyfriend, when family medicine was trash. Oh, this is where
Hey!
You better keep that couch.
It's trash for her.
Here you are
Trash
now.
for her.
It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. Yeah.
it's tough. It's tough.
Wait,
Right.
Nelson, you were saying.
Sorry, Nelson, you were saying?
Yeah, no worries. So I was saying I could totally relate to that. And
You're breaking
just to
up with
speak
your
on how
girlfriend on
amazing
the
it is.
couch?
And the
Not
wig
that
falling off.
part. Look, I was saying I shared a couple of days ago. Like, look, I did not pass step 2 CS my first try, and I'm talking the whole world literally came crumbling. I thought I would have this debt, 6-figure debt forever. I'm not graduating. Like, your mind just goes, and I can't imagine. Like, I'm still working on how I will make that into a video and show people, because if I had a video that I could go and watch that could say, hey, look, it's going to be okay.
Yes.
Do this, that, and the other. Like, you can finesse it. I would have been calm, but I was out here stressing for like, X number of weeks. And I was probably depressed, low key. Like, it was a terrible time. So just kind of co-sign what everybody was saying. I think this is a beautiful thing that we're doing and being so transparent. It gets real. Go ahead, Dama.
He's still matching to his number one, though. Don't sleep.
Right.
He's
Amen.
still matched to number
Amen to
one,
that.
not number two, not number
For real.
18.
Hey,
And CS was a corrupt exam, but that's a
I
different thing.
agree.
Listen,
I
if
agree.
we talk about
Yeah.
the
Yeah, we won't go into that, but
Right.
One day we should,
Absolutely.
because it is a
Absolutely.
rip-off.
Right.
But
So
also-
kind of moving forward a little bit, has doing YouTube opened any doors for y'all? I know Bernice has a little something that happened to her. She can talk about that, but in general, has this opened any doors for you guys?
Should I?
Go
Yeah,
ahead and lead it
so-
off. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So it's so crazy. So I mean, I think we've been talking about like you go in and you do your things for your purpose and just like kind of build your platform. And so it's funny because I was kind of in one of those like spaces where I was like, I don't know if like anyone is like receiving what I'm saying or like if this is going anywhere and stuff. And I had filmed a video. I've kind of had like a little string of videos of just like my reflections on everything that's going on, because we are literally living in a global pandemic right now, and we're going into I know, right? And we're going into emergency medicine, so we're going to be on the front lines. And so I think it's like in part of the vulnerability, I was kind of scared to be like, because I think I'm graduating, and so I was like, I feel like I should just put out videos of like, oh, I'm so excited and I'm so proud of graduating and all this stuff. But like the reality is like I have also been working through a lot of fear of the uncertainty. You hear about the PPE struggles, you hear about all of these things. And so I was just very transparent that like, there is like a lot going on, and this is a scary time to be graduating and a scary time to be starting emergency medicine. I am still grateful for like leaning into my purpose in this time, but it's scary. And then also talks about how medical students are graduating early, and they like the recommendations with the scarves was coming out. So I basically made a video where I talked about all of those things and all of the uncertainty and stuff. And then just like kind of put it out into the ether. And then a couple of days after I uploaded it, I got an email from a reporter from Time Magazine that was just like, hey, I saw your video. I'm writing an article right now about medical students who are graduating in the middle of this pandemic and becoming doctors. Your video was perfect for what I was looking for. Can I please have a phone call with you and talk to you more? Which was like mind blowing to me, y'all. Like I like couldn't believe it. I was like sitting with my mom and I was like, Mommy, like, is this a joke? Like, what is going on? So I emailed her back, like kind of like low key, like, am I being trolled right now? But then I looked her up and she was very legit. I contacted my school to make sure it was okay that I talked to the media and stuff. And they were like, oh yeah, we've worked with that reporter all the time. She does like a lot of health policy stuff, like definitely go forward. So we had the phone call and talked for a long time. Ultimately in the article, it was just kind of like a little snippet of what we talked about. But yeah, it was such an honor. And so I think for me, it was like, okay, you can, like, even if you feel like nobody's listening, like somebody is listening. And sometimes it can lead to this like really amazing opportunity, like being featured in Time magazine, which I never anticipated would come out of this and was definitely not part of my goals, but was such a blessing.
Crazy. Yeah.
That's amazing. Congrats for that. I just want to know, you sent him an invoice after that, right? Your time is valuable.
I'll send it after this call. I'll see you.
I'm just playing.
What's the show?
Right. That's amazing. And Sandra's back. Helene or Sandra.
For me, so nothing like being featured in New York Times or anything. But just like I'll get emails from different companies about like things relating to medicine, just like asking about like it, I don't know, just like asking about like my opinion on like certain topics in medicine, and usually I'll just like respond back to it with my opinion, but like it's not anything that's like being featured in something.
Girl, but that's
so I don't know what they're really kind of requesting my opinion for, but
a doctor. Hello.
I mean, I'm technically still a medical student, but
no, you're not. The pandemic.
Claim it. Fast track. Fast track.
Okay, fast track. But so yeah, in that sense, and I mean, just with the mentees, reaching out to us and just trusting us with their process. So nothing really outside of that.
The question is, are there any opportunities we've had outside or from YouTube, right? There are the emails from the companies. So for me, I actually don't respond to any of those emails. I don't respond to any emails asking me, well, at least I didn't as a medical student. I just didn't feel like it was my place. Now we're like in a gray period where I don't feel like a doctor yet. I don't, but I know that I'll probably get more of those emails now. I'm still not replying. And for as far as like sponsorship and stuff goes and, wearing people's products or promoting other people's stuff, that's something that I've also declined to do, just to keep the authenticity and the transparency, because I feel like there's a very thin line that YouTubers straddle when it comes to this stuff, where it's like self-promotion and then you're promoting somebody else's stuff and then it becomes like a commercial. I don't want people to be watching a commercial at all. So I've said no up to this point because I don't want it to take away from any of the authenticity or what I feel like Black or White Coat stands for. However, making this transition now, I was going to bring it in the very near future to my family on Instagram and maybe on a YouTube vlog, my next YouTube vlog, just ask like, how would you guys feel if I started accepting, sponsorships? The way that, my viewers can benefit is getting discount codes and stuff like that. But how would they feel? So I definitely want to bring them in and have them involved in it. But for now, I have turned down opportunities like that. Otherwise, as far as like magazines and stories like that, it's all been local Houston stuff, and our medical center magazines and stuff like that. But yeah, otherwise, it's the people I'm meeting that have had the most impact on me.
I have a question, because that's something that like I feel like we're still discussing, Adama and Nelson too, where we're talking about sponsors and it's hard because it's like you put in all this time, this effort, and yes, it is definitely fulfilling to touch lives, right? Because we're sharing our advice, sharing our story, but then like there's also the argument that you should be compensated for it as well, and I think that will maybe drive you a little more, but it it gets a little, again, it's that fine line that you're talking about.
It's a very fine line, and I've seen it go so wrong, and it just it breaks my heart, man. Watching these Instagram famous like med students accept supplements, sponsorships, and then all of a sudden their page like changes, and then I've seen it go so wrong. But then again you have people like my brother who his whole livelihood is based off of YouTube. Like he's a very successful YouTuber, lifestyle vlogger, has created his own brand from social media, has a whole gym and a whole athletic line and all this stuff from YouTube. It's because
shout him out. Shout out his line.
Even though he doesn't need me to shout him out, Shally Coker is his name, and he's on Instagram and YouTube as Shally Coker, and he owns Anaka Power.
That's him?
He owns Anaka Power. That's fine, yeah.
Oh, so that's crazy.
So listen, do he got some donations? Like,
he donates
I can do sponsorship.
Does he have plus sizes?
Yeah, his His clothes comes in all sizes, for all genders.
Didn't he work with Alpha League?
That's really cool.
Yeah. So Christian has
he's strong. He's a strong dude. I watch his stuff.
And his sister's strong too.
Right. That was assumed. That was straight baseline.
So when you see stuff like that happen so close to you, where somebody can be very profitable off of this social media thing. Don't get me wrong. And if you want to do that, I feel like it's okay if you do that. But I have an issue. Ooh, y'all, I get really heated when I talk about this.
Get into it.
Talking to my little board of directors, because Black Girl White Coat, we going nonprofit. Praise Jesus.
Wow.
Talking to amen. I was talking to them, and we were talking about another another group of people who are doing this thing that we're doing, underrepresented minority students. Let's help them get to medical school. Let's get them into let's support the next generation. But then they charging for this, and then but the argument is they want to profit off of the services that they're giving. My argument is, if you're gonna do that, then do that and say you're doing that. Like, we are a company here to service you, blank, period. There are people that are going to want that, and people do want that. People will pay. But if you're saying we're here to help you, we're here for advancement, we're here for, to make this a level playing ground for everybody. We understand that, this whole medical process is taking money out of our pockets, and we don't have a lot of money to begin with. It's unfair. But then on the back end, you're taking money from me too. I have a problem with that. So it's a very fine line, a very gray area that exists.
Yeah.
So I definitely invite each of you guys to explore it and to really think about what you want your brand to really stand for. Past today, past right now, past the little $20 that'll come into your bank account. What do you
got $20 in your bank account?
What do you want that platform to stand for? What do you want your brand to mean? I think it's worth the thought.
Yeah, it is.
Deep, absolutely.
I'm receiving a lot from this conversation.
Yeah.
To say thank you.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's not going to be received well by all people, but you know what I'm saying? I always been me.
Well, I mean, you have to stand for something, right?
Absolutely.
He's a savage.
That hair flip. Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
Classy, bougie, ratchet.
I mean, so quote this whole song, Anema. The whole song.
Right. Again.
He not acting stupid. What's happening?
What's happening?
Oh my
You're going to get a copyright infringement, okay?
It's okay. Me and Meg from Houston, so we good. We sisters.
No, hey, get her to come on. I know she's not medical, but damn, she can give some.
She's in college. She's doing the college thing, and she wants to open
She
a
can talk
long-term
about
care
that.
facility. She said.
Wait, what?
She said she wants to open a long-term care facility. She's doing like health administration or something.
That's what I thought.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, she has a degree in that.
Yeah. She's smart. She's in college.
All right, we're about to finesse that. She's our next guest.
Yes, get mad.
So we're going to talk.
You're up.
Slide in. I feel like
No, but I definitely agree with what Sandra said. Like I agree. I've had brands reach out like, oh, we'll send you our product and you'll make 10% commission with your discount code, blah blah blah. Which I mean, to this time, I've ignored them all. But also, I think just like seeing if you even believe in their brand too. Because okay, yeah, they may pay me, but like if I don't believe in your product, then like who am I to sell it to people that trust me and like that follow my channel if I don't even agree with that, so I feel like that is extremely problematic. But if there's like figs, like hit me up. That's a little different. That'd be a little different.
If you watch it, figs,
that'd be a little different. But yeah, I think if it's actually a brand that you believe in and like you agree with their mission, it may be different. But it depends.
Oh, that's real. That's real. Because you see kind of these TV doctors, right? And then they're like pushing the supplements and that sort of stuff. And then I've seen some.
Go ahead, name them.
I can name a couple.
I mean, I can name a couple. I can pull out the emails.
You already know who I'm talking about.
It's said in me and my homegirls. It's really
no, that's real. But to your point, Sandra, I have seen. There were some YouTubers because I was like seeing like who's out there, and I was like, and I saw some YouTubers, and they were like literally promoting these supplements and stuff, like some of the teas and all this stuff, and I was like, that stuff is so.
Oh no!
dangerous.
you're selling diuretics.
That's what. Deadly, right? So like there is a tremendous responsibility that we take if we get people to trust us and we get vulnerable and then we bring people in. It is very deceitful to then take money from these companies that have only the dollar signs in their mind. They don't care about your subscribers. They don't care about their health and well-being. So you have to keep that in mind. Like I definitely, to your point, Helene, I think there are companies that it could make sense to partner. Like I've seen some very interesting partnerships where like you can get discounts on like study materials and stuff, which like we can go back and
like those Amboss ones and stuff.
And I think that makes a lot of sense. And if you're giving people discounts, like I think that makes sense. But there are definitely some like lethal consequences that can happen with some of these other ones. So.
Yes.
Someone was asking what's the problem with supplements or some of the supplements.
Well,
it's kind of going.
So we can talk. The teas are the most dangerous, and there are cases of people actually dying from them because what it does a lot of times is it makes you have diarrhea or it makes you deplete a lot of your liquid, so you're losing a lot of liquid weight. But then that can have a lot of kind of derangements, a lot of issues with the balance of your nutrients and your electrolytes in your body, which then have further consequences with your muscles, your brain, your lung, all of these other things. And so it has a lot of very negative downstream effects. So just because you're losing the water weight and you look thinner, the other effects are not worth it at all.
At all. Yeah. And I've also had a company want me to promote their like protein powders and like those kind of supplements. And I'm just against doing that as well at this point because like I personally don't even use supplements right now myself. So I'm not about to take your supplements and then like advertise them to people if I don't even like have that much experience with them. And I'm not even currently like have that in my regimen or anything like that. So I ignore those as well.
Yeah.
I would definitely encourage people who look like us trying to enter this little field to think about it like 3 different times because this is at different points people will use or try to find things to use against you, and this is the last thing that you want them to be able to use. Like I saw you supported this company that supports genocide in Nigeria and you didn't know that because you didn't do your research, but you're supporting them. So now we're not going to do this for you. Now we're not going to, just don't set yourself up for that. Just think about it. And you don't need it. Like all of us here are successful. Our platforms are reaching people in the right way. We are making impacts. We are sharing our testimony and being transparent, and people are benefiting. And that's it. It could start and end right there.
Yeah. And the opportunities then go, beyond. So I really love what you said, Sandra, about like looking beyond the immediate. I think sometimes, and it's understandable, but I think sometimes we get really caught up in the instant gratification, but thinking like a lot longer term about what are you doing for society as a whole, and like what are you leaving behind, I think is really important. I love
and
that.
what is your future employer going to see?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we are our brands. We're embodiments of our brand. So kind of what that legacy do you want? You know, you want to have that like a clean bill of health, a clean slate, a clean history with you as your brand. If somebody could dig up receipts about you supporting, you know, flat tummy tea, that kind of discredits a lot of stuff that you might say. So yeah, absolutely.
And some of them, they tell me not that flat. So no, but on a serious note, we do YouTube, but it's not all that we are. Like, first and foremost, we are like physicians, and so this is something that our patients will have access to if they're creepy and find a way to find us on YouTube. So we also do have to think about how do we want our patients to perceive us if they do find us on YouTube and the things that we promote. And so not unfortunately, but as physicians, we have taken on a leadership role, and it's not just in the hospital, it's how we carry ourselves throughout life. So really important to think about that.
A lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure.
Absolutely. Well, y'all, this has been an amazing conversation. It's already been almost an hour and a half. I want to thank y'all, you know, on my behalf and on behalf of Adama and Chichi, Lily. You know, it's been amazing having y'all. Once again, I want y'all to plug your channels, plug anything you have, any events coming up. Go ahead, shout out anything you want. You know, we're just thankful to have y'all.
Yeah, join Being Bernice. I know I'm definitely a newer channel, but I have a mix of videos of my life getting to and through medical school, but I also have videos about my graduate school experience. So anybody who's interested in maybe getting a master's during medical school, I did a master's in public policy at the Harvard Kennedy School while I was in medical school, and that's a path that is becoming more and more common to do 2 degrees. So I think I just want to see us in these spaces that I'm occupying, and I want you to feel like you have the tools to do it. So I would love for you to join the Being Bernice community moving forward. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Okay, I'll go. So my YouTube channel, Hey Dr. Helene, where I basically just share my experience and my personal journey throughout med school. I also have a lot of videos where I feature my classmates because, you know, I can't experience everything that people have questions about. So I like to bring other people in. Right now I'm doing a series where it's how to match into blank specialty. So I'm going to be putting more and more of those videos out. I have up like OBGYN, neurosurgery, anesthesiology, and so I'll be doing more of those videos, especially because I get most of the schools in the US right now have pulled their students from rotations, and so I'm really hoping that these videos will help to give insight into these specialties that people were not able to experience themselves because of our current coronavirus situation. So I've been doing that, and I also just share videos just about my experience. And I also have pictures of videos of my cat because I adopted a cat in med school. So I'm really excited about him. He's around here somewhere, but yeah, so I also have that too. So definitely join the Hey Dr. Helene community. Would love to have you guys. And yeah.
Okay. Black or white coat. I would love to have you guys join my family as well on YouTube, as well as Instagram and Twitter. On all of those, we can be found at Black or White Coat. And the purpose of BGWC is really just motivation, mentorship, and representation. So those are the 3 pillars that we have. Mentorship, we just finished a successful enrollment period for our first ever Black or White Coat mentorship program. Shout out to Helene, who was one of our mentors. So right now I have over 300 people in this program that I am matching to form new mentor-mentee relationships. And each of us discussed here how important mentorship is on this journey to healthcare, a healthcare profession. Whether you want to be a nurse, PA, PT, doctor, or whatever it may be, you need a mentor. Yes, you do. If you needed the confirmation, this is it. You need a mentor. So I am here trying to help as best as I can with that. We just finished enrollment for this application season, but another application is going to open up in the fall or winter period. So please be on the lookout for that. so that we can hook you up with a mentor and have help you with some guidance, because we are just 3 people here and we can't guide everybody, but we definitely have people and know people who can. Another thing that we do that Black Girl White Coat does this year will be our 3rd annual scholarship. So the first year I began this, which was 2 years ago, 2018, we were able to award 1 student $500. Last year, we were able to award 2 students $500 each. This year, we are talking about $2,000, okay, y'all? So if y'all are trying to apply for this, No. Sorry. No, you cannot. But if you are a underrepresented minority future healthcare professional in high school, undergrad, or about to enter professional school, you are eligible to apply for this scholarship. And I look forward to getting more money in the hands of us this winter. It comes out every winter. And that's about it that we have going on right now. That's what to look forward to. Of course, the vlogs are coming. I have my reveal everything. I promised my family that I would make a vlog that was like all my scores, my grades, and all that stuff. So that's my next vlog. And then I'm also in the middle of a first gen series that's going on. So you guys can catch up on that series, and then stay tuned for my reveal all vlog that's coming out soon. So yeah, I would love to have y'all Black Girl White Coat on YouTube. And yeah, thanks for being a part of this.
No, this is so dope.
Love it.
I feel like, my hope and dream is like one day this is all going to be normal to see like Black physicians on YouTube or like anywhere, like in general. So I'm really grateful to have you guys all as guests. I'm so excited because this is like, I'm excited but also sad because this is the last video in the series. But I just wanted to shout out the team because this is like a whole. This was
right.
That's crazy. I thought about it. We've done like 15 or 16 videos in the last month.
Like 3 weeks. Yeah.
Wow. That's something. That is not easy.
It's not.
Right.
This YouTube stuff is not easy.
It is not.
Editing is not fun. Making YouTube videos is fun, but it's not easy.
It's a grind. It's work.
It's long. And then you got to make the thumbnail. You got to promote it. It's a lot. So y'all are doing something.
I'll be in the middle seeing patients. I'm like, hey, okay, let me step to the side real quick. I'll get a call from the nurse. I'll be like, hey,
you muted yourself.
Come back and be like, oh yeah, man, we really did that.
We
but it's all worth it.
We're all doing that.
Awesome.
We're all doing that.
A successful series for sure.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you for
representation
creating
matters.
Yeah.
No problem.
Representation
Matters, and that's
And thank you for creating a space where more people like us can get the resources we need to get to where we need to go. Because I know, like, when we were on the up and up during our journeys, I didn't see not one person that looked like me, not one person that could relate to me, not one person that had hair like mine, and like teaching me how to finesse on rotations. Now I have an elastic band so my wig will not fall off. But yeah, like, thank you for creating a space where people can come and get resources that we so desperately need. Yeah.
Absolutely. Man. But yeah, that's it. Thank you all again. Stay safe out there. And this video, this will be on everyone's channel, so look out for that. And yeah, without further ado, that's it. Thank you all. Like, comment, subscribe, share.
Bye.
Yep. Peace out, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.